The city of Cleveland in its own right was a giant of the industrial era. While frequently compared to the Colossus to our east that is New York and the Titan to the west that is Chicago, the monumental achievements of this great city often go overlooked. Yet when you look around her enduring streets, you see world-class testaments to her past. Many of these buildings, treasures really, have remained steadfast to their founding iron and stone. Others have found new life repurposed in the wake of industrial decline. New investment helps them live on and contribute to the economic life of the city. Others still, the forgotten about, exist as ghosts. To many, these buildings sit as eyesores, citadels of blight, and yet for others, many others, these sorts of spaces have become brownfield opportunity zones. The city of Cleveland has hundreds, if not thousands, of abandoned properties that have been creatively repurposed by artists and the community at large. While most of them are worthy of examination, this journey reflects on the transition of the Warner Swasey Building. The Warner Swasey Building is a seemingly imposing monolith in the heart of Cleveland's Midtown district.
The history of the Warner Swasey Company is very exciting for me because it is these two incredible people, Wister Warner and Ambrose Swasey, coming together kind of as this engineering dynamic duo. They kind of became the capital. I mean, Cleveland was this really incredible engineering city, partly due to these two men who started this company and was able to bring on people who really make these incredible machines. And after a while, they became really the go-to company in the country.
While thousands of commuters drive past it daily, and occasional pedestrians shuffle back and forth on neighboring sidewalks, most never even acknowledge its looming presence. It's as if its haphazard covering of graffiti is the perfect camouflage to avoid the majority of the public's attention. But buildings like this don't go ignored by all. For some, curiosity or impulse get the best of them, and the flustering mix of courage, brazenness, and a pinch of stupidity persuade them to cross the threshold from onlooker to trespasser. Others pass through to snap a few photos of the fascinating and haunting scenes. Periodically, their exploits show up on social media or image galleries like Flickr. Many still can't help but to leave their mark when they pass through. There seems to be something innate to our species that compels people to write graffiti. This kind of uncelebrated graffiti has existed since humankind first smeared mud and soot on a cave wall. From the caves of Lascaux to the catacombs of antiquity, people have used cavernous spaces as transtemporal message boards.
We just wanted to explore every abandoned building that we saw because it was like an adult playground as a kid. Every building that you saw it was unique and different, and you could walk around in them for hours and just take photos and kind of feel like, what did this used to be?
People leave their names using whatever they have at their disposal, from markers to stickers to house paint to, of course, the ubiquitous and archetypical spray paint. Throughout the building, examples of poetic verses and humorous quips can be found written and posted throughout the structure. Words of inspiration are sprinkled all over. You simply have to just look for them. Writing these messages is akin to placing messages in a bottle and setting them adrift. The author is hopeful that a random soul will eventually wander upon it. While these creative and sometimes not so creative scribbles take only a moment to produce, others have opted to spend hours on end practicing their craft. For the more dedicated graffiti writers and street artists, the Warner Swasey Building is a wondrous playground. In the early 2000s, the Warner Swasey Building became a regular painting destination for many of Cleveland's underground artists. Milk, a then 20-something artist, was one of the first to claim one of the most coveted spots, the rooftop.
It was a lot. Then myself and then Tim's. And those guys did not want to carry the 5-gallon bucket up to the rooftop. And they said, yo man, well, you don't have to pay for the paint. You carry it all the way up to the top. So I said, cool. And I was the one who carried the bucket all the way up to the top. We got up there, got busy, got it done. And it was a smooth little operation there. Nothing went wrong that night. Didn't have to run from anything. It was a very mellow night. We did that.
These green rooftop pieces almost served as a sign broadcasting, open for business. Indeed, the inside of the building would grow to contain a wealth of pieces. An artist that goes by Nerve recounts his experiences painting in the building.
All right, I am Nerve, originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Warner Swasey Building, 55th. At that time, which was some years back, I want to say maybe 08. The structure was pretty decent, so you were able to climb stairs, kind of dodge pitfalls and that kind of deal. Most of the structure was still intact, so you were able to kind of go through the floors and pick the perfect spot. I think we decided to do like the 3rd floor because we got tired of climbing. Found us a couple good walls, milk painted like what looked like a bathroom or something. I actually ran out of paint on the piece I sent, which was the Me Too piece with the bumblebees. Ran out of paint on it. Couldn't really finish it the way I wanted to, but you know, it was one of those days.
Even still, some of the more notorious painters in the building spoke about their experiences anonymously.
As far as I know, that building had been abandoned since 1991, I want to say. And the first time I stepped foot in it was around 2012. You know what? It was earlier than that. The first time I stepped foot in there was 2010. By the time I found out how to get into that building, it was completely covered in graffiti. Well, when we first went in there, we started going in there at night because we were kind of it's right next to a police. It's not a police station, but a police lot. So it's kind of intimidating the first time you're going in there, because right to the left of it you see hundreds of cop cars. So we went in there at night. And we're kind of sneaking around, and we found that there's a main staircase that goes up it, and it just takes you right out to the roof. And then when you get on the roof, you can see all. You look behind you, you see East Cleveland. You look in front of you, you see downtown Cleveland. You can see everything from on that roof. Out of all the abandoned buildings in Cleveland, it's the most accessible. That's for sure. The parking is. The parking is easy. It's easy to park. It's easy to get into the building. And if you paint on the roof, it's a good photo opportunity to get your graffiti with the backdrop of the city in the background. No, once we started to feel more comfortable there, it just kind of became like I started realizing that place is sort of it became sort of the new fun wall, which was the legal spot to paint on the west side that got shut down. And the Warner Swasey Building pretty much became the new fun wall.
We'd go in with friends. A lot of time we would bring our friends into these buildings that just wanted to go and do something fun for the day and see something different. You know, when you're in these buildings, you kind of walk around and you almost live the moment that the people who used to work there lived, and see in a way what it felt like to be in there. You know, even though we weren't working, we brought a lot of people that weren't graffiti writers just to go and explore it and have fun, and they always loved it. And it's a shame that they're knocking down so many of these old buildings.
It's unfathomable to many why people would take such a great risk to paint murals that few will ever see. Despite their explanations, it is even harder to understand the peculiar relationship of risk and beauty after hearing some of the artists' stories. A few artists shared accounts of close calls they have had.
It was amazing that I did not die that night, because when I looked down to the right after feeling a little bit of like a little gust of wind, I noticed that there was a gigantic hole in the floor, like in the floor that went all the way down to ground level. It here that a buddy of mine actually almost went through just a soft spot in one of the floors in that building. But I guess he didn't go all the way to the floor that was beneath him. He fell like halfway through and then caught himself. So his arms were like spread like this, and then somebody pulled him out of the hole. But that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with in an abandoned building. It comes with its territory.
There's a few stairs that are, a few steps in the staircase that are missing near the top. And it sort of feels like you're gonna fall through when you're walking near the top.
And so as we done got all the way to the roof to paint it, we coming back down. We get all the way down, and a piece of the stairs fall because of the all of us coming down the stairwell at the same time. I guess the vibration. We get down to the bottom, piece of it falls off. Boom! Like, hey, that was you right there. If you would have tried to go up.
Graffiti in modern times has emerged as a reliable predictor of eventual urban rebirth. Soon, the Warner Swasey Building will be reborn a third time to serve a new purpose in the Midtown neighborhood.
Most of the buildings that I ever painted for anything or explored, most of them are all gone now. So I'm really happy to see people reusing these buildings, upcycling them essentially, because, you know, having these old buildings was what sets us apart from some of these other cities where it's just all new construction. You know, these things have already been here for 100 years plus, and no one builds like they used to.
My name is Richard Varga. I work for Midtown Cleveland, and I'm the Vice President of Economic Development for the organization. I would just like to say that this project, if it's redeveloped, could potentially touch the lives of hundreds of thousands of Clevelanders who have lived and worked and been in this building. Every time that we talk about this building publicly, we hear different stories, whether it's from artists, whether it's from nephews or grandsons of people who work there, or whether it is from interested people who are trying to do development in the community. They recognize that this building was very integral to the Midtown neighborhood. And I think that it can be such a great place and will be a wonderful project that Cleveland can really be proud of.
The visionaries influencing the development of the cityscape have some not so obvious things to consider. Will they embrace the Levitonian vision of a perfectly parceled landscape, as sterile as it is organized? Or will they study the evolutionary wisdom of cities that have been continually inhabited for millennia? Cities like Rome, Paris, and London that have a place for both modern and ancient architecture to exist together harmoniously. Places where both commissioned art and some unauthorized graffiti both have a place, a home. If you really think about it, it's hard to name a world-class city that doesn't have a healthy and thriving graffiti scene. Perhaps the proliferation of this beautiful scroll is a key indicator of an open, free, and creative society.